In the annals of human history, wealth has always been a topic of fascination and contemplation. From the earliest civilizations to the modern era, individuals and societies have grappled with the concept of wealth, its acquisition, its implications, and its ethical dimensions. Ancient philosophers, scholars, and writers from various cultures have left us with a rich tapestry of wisdom concerning wealth. In this exploration, we will delve into the thoughts and writings of some of the most influential figures from antiquity who pondered the nature of riches and their role in human life. Plato and the virtuous society. Our journey through the wisdom of the ancients begins with Plato, the renowned ancient Greek philosopher. In his seminal work, The Republic, Plato contemplates the ideal society and the role of wealth within it. He argues that wealth should be limited and carefully regulated to ensure social harmony and justice. Plato believed that excessive wealth could corrupt individuals and undermine the unity of the state. In The Republic, he envisions a society where philosopher kings rule and private property is abolished, with communal living as the norm. Plato's critique of wealth was rooted in his concern for the common good and the need to prevent the emergence of a class of wealthy elites who might exploit their power. He saw wealth as a potential source of division and injustice within society, making him a proponent of communal living and shared resources. Plato's ideas on wealth continue to be discussed and debated in contemporary discussions on economic inequality and social justice. Aristotle and the ethics of wealth. Aristotle, another towering figure of ancient Greece, offered a nuanced perspective on wealth in his work Nicomachean Ethics. Unlike Plato, Aristotle did not advocate for the complete abolition of private property or wealth accumulation. Instead, he focused on the ethical dimensions of wealth and its role in a virtuous life. Aristotle argued that wealth, in itself, is not inherently good or bad. It is the way it is acquired and used that determines its moral value. He distinguished between two types of wealth: natural wealth, which is necessary for a good life, and unnatural wealth, which is acquired through excessive means or at the expense of others. Aristotle believed that acquiring wealth through virtuous actions and using it for noble purposes, such as philanthropy and the betterment of society, was a commendable pursuit. In Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle also emphasized the importance of achieving a balanced and virtuous life, where the pursuit of wealth is harmonized with the pursuit of wisdom and moral excellence. He viewed wealth as a means to an end rather than an end in itself, and his ideas on the ethics of wealth continue to influence discussions on responsible capitalism and corporate social responsibility in the modern era. Confucius and the Way of Harmony. Turning our attention to ancient China, we encounter the profound teachings of Confucius, also known as Confuzi. Confucius was a philosopher, teacher, and political thinker who lived in the 5th century BCE. His philosophy, centered on ethics and moral principles, had a profound impact on Chinese culture and society. While Confucius did not provide extensive writings on wealth per se, his teachings emphasized the importance of social harmony and the proper conduct of individuals within a society. Confucian ethics stress the virtue of benevolence, ren, which includes compassion, empathy, and a sense of responsibility toward others. In the context of wealth, Confucius advocated for the ethical use of resources to benefit society as a whole. Confucius believed that individuals in positions of wealth and power had a moral obligation to use their resources for the betterment of their communities and the welfare of the less fortunate. He emphasized the importance of humility and selflessness in the face of wealth, reminding his followers that one's character and moral integrity should not be compromised by material riches. The concept of the gentleman, junzi, in Confucian philosophy, exemplifies the ideal individual who possesses both moral virtue and material resources. Such a person, according to Confucius, would use their wealth and influence for the greater good, fostering a harmonious and just society. The Stoics and the pursuit of inner wealth. Moving forward in time to ancient Rome, we encounter the Stoic philosophers, including figures like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius. Stoicism was a philosophical school that emphasized personal virtue, wisdom, and inner tranquility as the path to a meaningful and fulfilling life. For the Stoics, the pursuit of external wealth and material possessions was considered secondary to the cultivation of inner virtues. They believed that true wealth resided in one's character, wisdom, and the ability to exercise self-control in the face of external circumstances. Seneca, in his essay On the Happy Life, wrote that the wise person is rich in content, in unruffled peace of mind, and in a wealth that is never taken away but only increased. The Stoics advocated for a detachment from material wealth and the understanding that external possessions are fleeting and subject to the whims of fate. They encouraged individuals to focus on what they could control, their own thoughts, actions, and moral choices, rather than obsessing over the accumulation of wealth or the fear of losing it. In this way, the Stoics offered a unique perspective on wealth that prioritized inner well-being over external riches. The Bhagavad Gita and wealth in Hindu philosophy. Turning our gaze to ancient India, we encounter the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, a sacred text that is part of the Indian epic, the Mahabharata. The Bhagavad Gita is a philosophical and spiritual dialogue between Prince Arjuna and the god Krishna, who serves as his charioteer and spiritual guide. In the Bhagavad Gita, wealth and its pursuit are discussed in the context of dharma, which can be translated as duty or righteousness. Arjuna, a warrior prince, is faced with a moral dilemma on the battlefield, where he must fight against his own relatives and loved ones. Krishna advises him on various aspects of life, including the pursuit of wealth. Krishna emphasizes the importance of performing one's duty, svadharma, without attachment to the fruits of one's actions. He advises Arjuna to act selflessly and without desire for personal gain, even in the pursuit of wealth and success. This selfless action, known as karma yoga, involves doing one's duty with dedication and devotion while surrendering the outcomes to a higher power. The Bhagavad Gita's teachings on wealth underscore the idea that material success and prosperity should not be the sole focus of one's life. Instead, individuals are encouraged to perform their duties with integrity and without selfish motivations, recognizing that the pursuit of wealth should be aligned with higher ethical and spiritual principles. Laozi and the Tao of Simplicity. In ancient China, contemporary with Confucius, Laozi, the legendary sage and philosopher, offered a contrasting perspective on wealth in his seminal text, the Tao Te Ching. Laozi's philosophy, known as Taoism, centered on the concept of the Tao, often translated as the way or the way of nature. Laozi's teachings emphasized simplicity, humility, and living in harmony with the natural order of the universe. He believed that excessive desire for material wealth and status led to disharmony and suffering. In the Tao Te Ching, Laozi wrote, "The more you have, the less you are. The less you have, the more you are." For Laozi, true wealth lay in contentment with what one had and a life of moderation. He cautioned against the relentless pursuit of wealth, power, and social status, which he saw as distractions from the path of inner peace and enlightenment. Laozi's teachings have influenced various aspects of Chinese culture, including traditional Chinese medicine, martial arts, and the art of living a balanced and harmonious life. Jesus Christ and the Kingdom of Heaven. In the Judeo-Christian tradition, the teachings of Jesus Christ in the New Testament offer profound insights into wealth and its spiritual dimensions. Jesus often spoke about wealth, using parables and teachings to convey his message. One of the most famous of these teachings is the Sermon on the Mount, found in the Gospel of Matthew. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus articulated the concept of the Kingdom of Heaven, or Kingdom of God. He emphasized that true wealth and happiness were not to be found in material possessions, but in spiritual values, such as humility, mercy, and righteousness. Jesus famously said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the Kingdom of Heaven." Throughout his ministry, Jesus advocated for the care of the poor and marginalized, challenging the rich to share their wealth with those in need. He warned against the dangers of greed and the love of money, famously stating, "It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter the kingdom of God." Jesus' teachings on wealth have had a profound influence on Christian ethics and the concept of stewardship, which emphasizes responsible and compassionate use of material resources. The tension between the pursuit of wealth and the call to serve others remains a central theme in Christian theology and practice. Cicero and the ideal statesman. In ancient Rome, Marcus Tullius. Cicero, a statesman, philosopher, and orator, contributed to the discourse on wealth through his extensive writings. Cicero's works encompassed various topics, including politics, ethics, and the responsibilities of the Roman elite. Cicero believed that wealth, when acquired and used virtuously, could be a source of public benefit and contribute to the common good. He argued that statesmen and leaders should be just and virtuous in their use of wealth and power, acting in the best interests of the state and its citizens. In his work De Officiis, On Duties, Cicero outlined the moral duties of a statesman, emphasizing the importance of integrity, justice, and philanthropy. Cicero's writings also reflected the Roman values of honor and public service. He saw wealth as a means to fulfill one's civic responsibilities and contribute to the welfare of the republic. Cicero's ideas on wealth and ethics resonated with later thinkers in the Roman and European traditions, and his works continued to be influential throughout the Renaissance and Enlightenment periods. Conclusion. In our journey through the wisdom of the ancients, we have encountered a diverse range of perspectives on wealth and its role in human life. From the ideal society envisioned by Plato to the ethical considerations of Aristotle, from the inner tranquility of the Stoics to the selfless duty of the Bhagavad Gita, from the simplicity of Laozi to the spiritual teachings of Jesus Christ, and from the statesmanship of Cicero, these ancient thinkers have left us with enduring insights and moral guidance. While the specific views on wealth vary among these thinkers, common themes emerge. Many emphasize the importance of ethical conduct in the acquisition and use of wealth, the dangers of excessive materialism, and the value of inner virtues and spiritual well-being. These ancient voices continue to resonate in our contemporary world, where questions of wealth, inequality, and the pursuit of a meaningful life remain central to our societal discourse. As we reflect on the wisdom of the ancients, we are reminded that the quest for wealth is not merely a material endeavor, but a deeply philosophical and ethical one. It is a journey that invites us to consider not only what we have but also who we are and how we relate to our fellow human beings. In the end, the true measure of wealth may be found not in our possessions but in the content of our character and the impact we have on the world around us.